think I'm actually live. Hi. Hi, Brilliant Bookworm. Hi, Catherine. Hi, it's good to see you. Yeah, I've gone live this evening because I didn't manage to get my video that I'm working on finished today. So I thought I'd go and do a live just to have a little catch up and a bit of a chat. So hello to everybody. Let me just check the live chat because what I've done is once again I'm using my phone. So hello Julie, hi. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of flicking from the live chat to the screen. So how is everyone? How's your weekend? Was it good? I hope you had fun. So firstly, this is my new lapel microphone, and I'm really happy to say that thanks to a recommendation from one of you, I bought a lapel microphone, and this is it. And this is a real help, I think, for making sure that your audio is better quality. So I'll be able to take this out and about if I'm doing a video like the one I did where I was speaking to the TRAs. I think if I'd had a lapel microphone, that would have been so much clearer because it can collect the audio from very close by. So even if someone was playing music in the background, I think it would collect the audio much better. So hopefully the next time Hannah and I encounter each other and have another conversation, it'll be much easier to capture it. So I had a lovely weekend. I spent most of it decorating actually. It's just not always great fun, but I'm getting there with my hallway. It just takes me a long time because, you know, I'm disabled, so it takes me twice as long to do as the job that, you know, somebody else could do in half of the time. So I wanted to talk about an article that I saw today, and it's an article in the Spectator. Have you seen it? Do you know which one it is? There are two that I want to talk about, but let's deal with this one first. This is an article by Debbie Hayton, and it's called "Why is the NHS Erasing Women?" Published 22nd May 2022. This is an article about women's issues. It's not about trans issues. This is an article about women's issues. It's an article about cervical cancer and ovarian cancer. I can confidently say that Debbie Hayton has no understanding of women's experiences with either cervical cancer or ovarian cancer. He writes in the article that the NHS has changed the wording on the website. So I'll read it out and then we can talk about it. So he says, cervical cancer and ovarian cancer only affect women. So why has the NHS been quietly erasing the word woman from information pages on its official website? According to the Mail, NHS advice pages on these conditions were edited at the beginning of the year to remove references to the word woman. Last year, women seeking information about cervical cancer were told that cervical cancer develops in a woman's cervix, brackets, the entrance to the womb from the vagina, close brackets. It mainly affects sexually active women aged between 30 and 45. But in 2022, the advice reads, cervical cancer is a cancer that is found anywhere in the cervix, and the cervix is the opening between the vagina and the womb, brackets, uterus, close brackets. Similarly, women looking for information online were previously told that ovarian cancer or cancer of the ovaries is one of the most common types of cancer in women. Now they are only informed by the health service that anyone with ovaries can get ovarian cancer. So I'm sure this is accurate reporting. You know, I'm sure that it's true. We've all been sat there and watching the NHS become captured over the years and have observed these changes in language which erase women. But I can't think of any greater demonstration of the erasure of women as to commission an article talking about how the language choices we make around ovarian and cervical cancer erase women, and to actually erase women from that. To actually employ a man to write the article, because there are no women out there that can read those NHS guidelines and tell us what they say. So once again, Debbie Hayton has demonstrated the deep empathy he has with women by taking a commission from a woman. There are so many women working in journalism. There are so many women. There are women in our ranks that could probably break into journalism given some of these opportunities. And there are women that are established journalists. Any one of them could have written this article. There's nothing in this article. Well, let me... Oh, microphone. Sorry. See, I haven't quite got into the hang of the whole... How do I attach it here now? There we go. Oh. There we go. You see the clip is kind of magnetic and it just pops off, and then this is what you don't see on TV when professionals are doing it. It just kind of pops off, so you have to watch out for that. Right, so let's continue with the article. He continues. Similarly, women looking for information online were previously told that ovarian cancer or cancer of the ovaries is one of the most common types of cancer in women. Now they are only informed by the health service that anyone with ovaries can get ovarian cancer. The health service's cancer advice and guidance is extensive, and rightly so. Women concerned about their health need to know about symptoms, causes, tests and treatment, and where to get help and support. But crucially, they need to know whether or not the guidance applies to them. If this obfuscation of reality was hidden in some obscure academic paper, it might be forgivable, or at least ignorable. But the NHS has a duty of care to a wide audience, not all of whom might know that the information is aimed specifically at women. It just makes me more and more cross. Yes, women are concerned about their health, and they do need to know about the symptoms, causes, tests and treatment, which are actually the categories of the information on the NHS webpage. That's the extent of the research this man has done into this issue. He's actually repeating back to us the headings of the website. Yes, we do need to know whether or not this guidance applies to us. It wouldn't be forgivable if this was hidden away in an academic paper. This is unforgivable in every context. We need to know that this applies to women. The NHS does have a duty of care to a wide audience, not all of whom might know that the information is aimed specifically at women. You're dead right there. There are huge numbers of women who don't know that they've got a cervix, that don't know they're in... Bloody hell. They don't necessarily know their internal reproductive anatomy. Why should they? Why should they? You know, not everybody's been taught this stuff. A lot of people who are speaking English as a second language, they don't know these words, these medical terms like uterus or cervix. It's a very exclusionary conversation when you reduce things down to their kind of medical terms, whereas everybody knows what a woman is. But also, you know, I want to highlight, as a disabled woman, there are a lot of women out there who have got learning disabilities that mean that, you know, they don't necessarily know the words cervix and uterus. They know what a woman is, and they need to have information that is delivered in a way that is able to be understood and acted on. Because if we want women to be able to take control of their health, we need to be able to help women understand what the risks and benefits are, for instance, of having a smear test, which all women are invited to do every so many years. But, you know, many of us women have to make a choice about whether or not to go for a smear test, bearing in mind all the various different types of risks and benefits that we're dealing with. There's none of that a man can really understand. Anyway, going back to it. Interestingly, the equivalent pages on men's health have not been edited in the same way. Those searching for information on prostate cancer are told quite simply that most cases develop in men aged 50 or older. No chances are taken with testicular cancer. The word men appears 8 times in one page. Women's health, therefore, seems to be an ideological playing field that men's health is not. In the guidance, the word woman has generally been culled, with 2 notable exceptions on another page of the website, which explains that anyone with a cervix can get cervical cancer. This includes women, trans men, non-binary people, and intersex people with a cervix. And anyone with ovaries can get ovarian cancer. This includes women, trans men, non-binary people, and intersex people with ovaries. But framing the advice in this way, the NHS appears to be redefining women as a subgroup of people with cervices, or he writes cervixes, but I think it's cervices, or ovaries. How this helps anyone is hard to fathom. Yes, the reason why the equivalent pages on men's health have not been edited in the same way is called misogyny. It is misogyny that means that women are able to be erased and men are not. It is misogyny that means that a man is commissioned to write this article and women are not. It is misogyny that means that women are regarded as a subgroup of people with cervix or cervices or cervixes or whatever the hell it is. I've spoken English all my life and I don't know what it is. What flipping... Oh, right. See, it just winds me up. It really winds me up. Right. We're going back to it. I think I've got 2 more little sections to read. While some women might just roll their eyes at the lunacy on display, the consequences may be profound for some women who speak English as a second language. Meanwhile, the inclusion of non-binary people, whoever they are and however they might identify, is a political rather than a medical distinction. There are 2 distinct groups of people within this self-defined demographic. Those with cervixes and those with prostates. They are not the same, certainly where reproductive health is at stake. The fantasy world of political activists should have no place in medicine where reality cannot be so easily ignored. Meanwhile, intersex people must wonder once again what any of this has to do with them. In particular, why intersex people with a cervix, brackets or ovaries, are somehow not the same as women in the mind of the NHS. Yeah, you're right. Women that speak English as a second language are not going to be able to understand that. You're also right that non-binary people are a political distinction and not a medical one, and there is no need. Oh, has that not been connected all this time? Is it connected? Yeah, it is connected. It just looks like it's not connected. Is it? Is it connected? Learning as we go while I get really cross. Right, I'm just going to click back in. Oh my, there's lots and lots of comments. Oh crumbs, didn't see them. Hello, hello, hello. Hi everyone. Oh, thanks Catherine. I'm glad to know that it's working out okay. Hi, 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 hi. Yes, it is forced teaming. Oh, the lovely poems. I'm so sorry to hear that you're an ovarian cancer survivor. I wish you'd written this article. I really do. Right, let's go back. Where were we? La 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 la. Oh, Catherine, you have a friend with ovarian cancer as well. I'm so sorry. Why don't I talk about women in Muslim countries? Very happy to, but right now I'm talking about this. Where else am I? Hi, Brittany, slightly twisted female. It's lovely to see you here. Yes, there will be female journalists who've experienced female-only cancers, Catherine. It's just a shame that they weren't actually commissioned to write this article. Oh, I'm so sorry, Claire Wallace-Samani, who's just got home from an oncology checkup. I'm really, really sorry. I'm really sorry. Oh. Okay. I can't read all of this. Okay, but it sounds like you can hear and see me fine. Good. Okay, great. Right. Hide chat messages. Okay, I think I'm getting it. Yeah, I mean, the other thing that's of note that leaps out of me from this page is that there's no discussion of breast cancer and breast cancer screening. Now, why might Debbie Hayton not be talking about breast cancer screening? Why do we think that is? I've got some ideas. I think that he is very, very sneakily not talking about breast cancer because he doesn't want to get into the weeds of whether or not men have breasts. I think he's not talking about that because he knows that taking huge doses of exogenous female specific hormones do increase the risks of breast cancer in men, and therefore men that identify as trans women have an increased risk of breast cancer, taking even more resources that they don't need to be taking from women. It strikes me that Debbie Hayton is very, very keen on his breasts and would rather we didn't have any discussion about whether or not it is a justifiable use of scarce medical resources to have men deliberately increasing their risk of breast cancer and then presumably being there on the wards with women who've just had some of the most dreadful experiences women can have. We know what an emotional and difficult process it is. I know Brittany's another one in the chat that's been through female specific cancers. It's so difficult for women who've had any kind of treatment. It strikes at the heart of your identity as a woman. It strikes at the heart of your sexuality. It strikes at the heart of your worries about motherhood. It's, you know, it's huge. It's a huge big deal, and it's not okay for men to come into that space and try and tell us what's what. It's not okay for men to go and flipping get commissioned to write articles about it. Anyway, last bit. Whoever rewrote these pages has a powerful impact on the way in which we define men and women. The NHS is a trusted source of information across the country for both individuals and organisation. When I taught critical thinking, I thought he was a physics teacher. When would a physics teacher be teaching critical thinking? That is interesting to me, because there's nothing in a physics teacher's training which would, none of it makes it. Just stop trying to make it make sense is my advice to myself. I explained to my students how to assess the quality of sources and the NHS scored highly. Right, well, in terms of the ability to assess sources when we're looking for medical information, scientific information online, perhaps that's what he's talking about. Perhaps he meant critical thinking in the context of science literacy in the public. That is possible. I can imagine that happening. Anyway, the power exerted by that editor, therefore, is likely to permeate deeper into society than this one piece of guidance. Other people charged with the task of developing information, guidance, or health advice will feel justified in relying heavily on the NHS or even quoting it verbatim. After all, this is the NHS. Editors have a lot of power. The editor of the Spectator, for instance, has the power to decide whether or not to commission a man to talk about ovarian and cervical cancers. I don't see the justification in this article. There is nothing coming through that reads to me as carrying with it some unique insight that Debbie Hayton has that would qualify him to talk about this, either from his perspective as a physics teacher or his perspective as a trans activist. You know, then it doesn't have any relevance. Anyway, meanwhile, slowly, or maybe not so slowly, the word woman is becoming erased. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Those in the NHS who signed this guidance off, perhaps blissfully unaware of what they were agreeing to, should, in my view, revise these pages as a matter of urgency. The NHS might have taken on board the LGBT rainbow for its branding and badges, but it must think critically before assuming the thinking of this particular strand of activism, because where human bodies are concerned, human biology still matters. I do agree with the broad thrust of the article. Oh, I don't like saying thrust in the context of Debbie Hayton. I do agree with a lot of what is said in this article, but there is absolutely nothing that I warm to in the idea of Debbie Hayton taking this commission when, as any sort of ally, any sort of male ally should have that commission presented to them as a possibility and should immediately know that they do not need to be the person with the talking stick for that commission. It's absolutely fine for male allies to say, you know who would be perfect for this? My mate Jane. She's a journalist. She's just trying to get started, but she knows all about this. She went through, you know, cancer screening, or she's had a smear or whatever. Every single woman has more expertise to write this article than Debbie Hayton. Every single woman in the country. And I believe, how many people are in the country now? I don't know. But it's quite a lot. And there's only one Debbie Hayton, and yet he's the one with this commission. And I can't think of a better demonstration of the patriarchy than that. I'm going back now to look at the live chat. So let's have a look. Okay, oh my. So, oh, the lovely poems. I'm so glad it was only stage 1. Yes, Shelley, I think we should write to the Spectator and find out why they didn't ask a woman to write this. Don't forget to like the stream to boost it. That would be great if anybody wants to leave me a like. Brilliant Bookworm says she worked in cancer services for long enough to know that the technical... Yeah, messaging like this is completely beyond most people. I think the problem is that when... what was it I was doing? Was it when I was doing my adult learning? I'm a qualified adult teacher, so like I did a lot of learning on how to teach adults, and one of the things that we learned was that most people are reading at the level of like a 10-year-old. So everything that you write in terms of teaching materials for adults needs to be written with a view to addressing any literacy needs that people have to get them up to speed to read at the level of a 10-year-old, and that if you can create all your materials to be pitched at that level, they will be much more accessible to a much greater range of adults in further education. Which of course we're not doing when we use technical languages. 15 years. Oh, the lovely poems. I'm so glad. Brittany says she's been given almost no hormonal counselling after her radiation. It caused menopause, and it's disheartening the amount of endocrine science resources dedicated to the designer hormones for trans-ID'd male. Yeah, I absolutely agree. One male person is taking 8 women's HRT. That's how much they're taking. Yes, Moody on Rudy, he teaches A-level physics. Yep. Yes, Catherine, a man was chosen by a man to talk about a subject affecting women. Yeah, absolutely. Oh dear. Yeah, so let me just hide the chat messages. So I'm not going to hang about for a long time because I have to sort out my kids. It's important for one of my children this year is doing exams, so I need to focus a lot of energy on her. So listen, great to see you all here. I hope I've made my position clear. I don't think it's okay for men to be given platforms to speak over women about women's health issues, about the fact that we need the NHS to be listing information in ways that's accessible to the greatest number of women. That's not something that the expertise of a man has any justification in being part of. I also just want to remind everybody that this is the guy who last week was talking about how 3-year-olds are fetishists. Just going to leave that with you. Personally, I'd like him to not speak about women at all ever again. Thank you very much. Because I don't want to be force-teamed with somebody like that. I don't want to be force-teamed with a man who has written about his own paraphilias in various publications. I don't want to be force-teamed with a man who openly discusses his peculiar sexuality. I don't want to be force-teamed with a man who believes that children can be fetishists. That is seeking access to children in order to teach them. They're much older children, of course. They're children up to the age of 18. I don't want to be force-teamed with a man who is in a controlling relationship with a woman. Don't want to be force-teamed with him. And I would really, really love to hear from any of you women that have got these stories about female cancers, or any of you, all of you, should be given a right of reply whenever any blooming man in the media is spouting off about things that he can't possibly understand. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me. Do leave me a like or a dislike. Do join in the comments. They will all stay up after the stream, I believe. Thank you so much for the practical support from people that has enabled me to buy this lapel microphone. I really do appreciate it, and my PayPal link is not in this description box because I didn't put it there, but it is in other ones. If you feel driven to give me money, you can just drop £1 in my PayPal. It's Claire Feminist. Don't have much else to say tonight, so I'm just going to say to all of you, to take care of yourselves, and particularly to all the women who've survived female specific cancers, who've been through the scares, who've had the preventative treatment, who've had the poking, the prodding, the disbelief, the being ignored for your pain, the flipping 10 to 15 years to get a blimmin' diagnosis, all of it. You know, I stand with you, and we're going to take our movement back from these men. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again soon. I don't know how to end the stream now. That's difficult, isn't it?